FaZe Twistzz is going to work. Probably. Hopefully. If the right things happen, it will work. And the problem they're going to have probably isn't going to have a lot to do with his form and his ability to actually shoot people, as we're going to demonstrate as we dive into the demo in just a second. But Lord, Twistzz on FaZe will be successful. I've seen a lot of people complain that this move is not going to help FaZe in any particular way. There's no way you can even replace anyone on this team with him and have the roles make sense, which is the strangest claim of all for me. But also, there are a lot of people claiming, or arguing, that a lot of the problems Liquid have been because of Twistzz wanting to do certain things, wanting to have certain players signed, wanting to play certain roles, and that exclusively is the issue with what's been going on at Liquid, why they're underperforming, not winning events, not making top placings. It's all Twistzz, all the way down, rotten to the core. I think that's all a bit ridiculous and a bit over the top, but let's focus on some CS stuff today, shall we? Let's really dive into the nitty-gritty of how Twistzz plays, what he does, and why I think if the right player is replaced, he could be really strong on this FaZe side, and this FaZe side could be flying up the rankings should they make the right moves. I'm going to get straight into it with our pistol round. A missed decoy, obviously, just to start things off on the right note. And we're going to watch Twistzz be incredibly pack-heavy. And now he's a player who on the T side will be trading, will be a part of the group, getting traded out himself as well quite often, but generally a part of the main charge. It's not too common to see him lurk. You'll see him off the back of his sort of map control. Ooh, lovely shots. Take some sort of more late round focused sort of positions, but generally, yeah, Pac-Man, Trader, and Tradee. Some excellent pistol play in the first round. Magnificent crosshair placement, execution. Let's just go back and watch some of these shots. I mean, the first shot is so crisp and clinical, and then from that point onwards, it just spirals into a monstrous triple kill. The only player on the team really delivering on any sort of frags, and you'll see him playing off the shoulder, as I call it, just leveraging the space between him and his opponent, between him and his teammate, rather, in order to get a clean shot on his opponent. Does get a huge triple kill. Really impactful. And opens the door for a round win. I don't think they actually do end up winning this round, though. That's the difficulty. Yeah. One man can only do so much, and no one else really finding much impact. So we're going to see it time and time again. If you've ever watched a Twistzz POV, the crosshair placement, sublime. His really rapid adjustments between pre-aims as well. Really great to see. I think one of the most iconic clips I've saw Twistzz was a highlight in CSGO, I think it was, on Overpass when he was on FaZe, just trading out a B hit or B rush. Just so quick at adjusting. They're quickly getting rid of Jota, but again, the force buy doesn't seem to be working out. Bomb planted, AK bought. No one else really finding any impact. Twistzz in that sense is kind of set up to have this impact. It is his job, really, to finish off situations, at least in the mid-round. Sort of, make the most of the space being taken by his teammates. Make sure they don't die in vain. Here's going to get caught out, though. Just go down. Not much doing. But Liquid had a bit of a slow start. I think they're down 4-1 at some point on this map before he starts really coming alive. Hitting some shots. And also their T-side starts humming under Shuhei's guidance. But we're going to see a lot of it on the site hits. He doesn't even throw that much utility, typically, on these side hits. He just has his gun out, ready to go, ready to trade, ready to hit those shots that are necessary. Here, a little bit of deagle play. Bosh! Off goes the head. Goodbye, Xantares. But with pistols, it's always going to be difficult to make it happen. And we are going to skip ahead. So we do have a bit of a blank round after this one. Before we get into something we're going to see a lot of. Oh, this is the blank round still. Bloody hell. Yeah, the main way Liquid approach this T side, a lot of mid control. Sometimes with the player out of under, typically being Nerds. Sometimes with two players out of under. It can be Nerds and Twistzz. He does do that on a couple of occasions. But more often than not, he is part of the top mid group. Getting out, working with these spaces and these little advantages to try and find a kill. Here looking to clear out ladder. I'll spot the player, and that swing is so hard to shoot. Like, your pre-aim is never right. Whenever you're facing someone swinging back into you from ladder, your pre-aim is just never right. They're often swinging faster than you think. They're swinging you're pre-aiming too high, too low. One of the toughest fights to take in the game right now. I see very few players successfully clearing out ladder when the ladder player's moving around. You know, if the ladder player's swinging back out into you, you're just going to struggle. But how he's going to fit on FaZe. Now, FaZe, prior to sort of the Elige period, when we had Twistzz on the team alongside players like Rain and Rops. You know, we were in that era of FaZe, rather. It was pretty well balanced, all things considered. Rain being the more aggressive of those guys, the guy who would play more hard entry, be the first point of contact. Rops obviously being the hard lurk, hard closer, and Twistzz being the sort of middle ground. Great clear onto Akadi there. Throwing some muta, trying to get the solo exec essentially thrown out there, try and give the team a chance to get out onto the site, but that sort of little lurking kill, not too common, not the mainstay of his gameplay, but with his mechanics, always a very viable option. Expects the sandwich peek, there it is, and it's free. Lovely bit of anticipation. But I expect them to return to a similar system, because Frozen comes in for Twistzz initially, and there was a bit of overlap between Frozen and Rops. We often talked about it. There's no one on this team who wants to go on that front foot. In those riflers, neither one of them likes to go make the play. Tidy opening in mid. A rare sort of half-lurk round out of Twistzz, not involved in the pack at all. And you'll kind of see why here. He just struggles to really find a good position, make a good play, or even read the defense particularly well. Just gets cleared out as they both come swinging out jungle. But yeah, the Frozen Rops duo, when there's just the two of them, neither one's going to go first. Twistzz will. He's not necessarily an overly aggressive player, but he's willing to take the entry. He's willing to be the bait. As a player who's really good at trading, it seems he values that, or understands the value of it, rather, a lot better than some other players. And gets the impulse, at least, to go forward and take the aggro. When Frozen and Rops are on the team, we always commented there's just a little bit of aggression missing. When Elige comes in to replace Rops, and Frozen goes into hard lurk and closer mode, which, let's be clear, was fantastic. We know Frozen in his natural born roles is one of the best riflers in the world. We've seen that now for about 9 months of just insane Frozen play. But the problem seemed to be that Elige and Rain don't play that well on a team together. Rain kind of has to change up his CT spots a bit on the T side as well. Sometimes Elige wants to play as that, that opening man. And Rain as the trader, the sort of twists in between in the middle, just didn't make as much sense, didn't have as much success, really. It doesn't help that with his age, he's struggling to maintain a consistent level of output and form. I'm sure the two kids thing is always a factor. Just not got that time for DM grinding like everyone else does. Now we skip ahead a couple of rounds here, just because we have some ecos, we have some free plants that just end immediately. But back to the point. The removal of Rain for Twistzz would work sumptuously. It'd be beautiful. Not because, again, I'm not saying I wish this upon Rain, that he should be cut, that he should retire, he can no longer compete. This event showed that they actually have a pretty tough decision. If it was purely a Counter-Strike question, Jacob v Rain, who's got the better form, who do you believe in to go to win you more events? You could make a very compelling case for both, but ultimately, Jacob's age will always work in his favour. He's a very young guy with a lot of room to grow and develop as he learns and understands Tier 1 CS, which currently he doesn't really play that well as far as in meta, in stride, and with solid decision making. He's just not quite there yet. But bringing in Twistzz just allows Jacob to do those sort of T-sides aggressions, like be the hard entry that he wants to be. And it gives you a ridiculous trading weapon to back him up, as Twistzz has been on fire since returning to just pure rifle rolls on Liquid, no longer trying to be the IGL, just doing what he does best. We like to get through this tech pause rather quickly. So yeah, he's going to be that second punch of firepower they absolutely need right now. On the kind of upside, I guess, especially for FaZe, a lot of people haven't really been convinced, even if it was the optimal move, even if it is Rain for Twistzz, Frozen stays where he is, none of this Na'Vi Frozen stuff comes true. Some people don't believe there's enough firepower. They don't believe that's going to be the roster that can actually contend for titles, and titles may be a bit of a stretch, but think about this. Just at this event, Brokey underperformed. Now, he's been inconsistent, streaky over the last however many years you want to decide it is. He's never truly had his consistency down, but when he's on, he's fantastic. But on the other side of things, it's also a bit of an underperforming Frozen that they had at this event. He wasn't on his top game. He was 1.06 rated Frozen is forgettable, right? That's just not the player we've come to know over the last 6 to 9 months. You'd expect a top Frozen to return. With that in mind, let's say you get even an average Brokey performance. The kind of Brokey performance where he isn't bottom of the scoreboard some maps, where he isn't fading away, where he is finding those impactful clutches, making multi-kills happen, going for those sort of half-baked, crazy ideas that he likes to go for. Imagine we just get average Brokey, decent Brokey, a couple of good rounds, a couple of bad rounds. We'll tolerate that sort of level. On top of that, we get Prime Frozen, that sort of endlessly clutch, endlessly impactful in the late rounds, just rifling monster. To go with a solid entry in Jacob and a highly impactful Liege. It's everything you could ever ask for. It really is a team that can win a lot. We see another round here really stalling out, those of you who've been paying attention to the game. Just stalling out in the mid-control, getting picked off left, right, and center before they can actually get to the bomb sites. Would have liked to have seen a few more, maybe pacier B plays, something else to change the tempo, change what the defense is seeing, because they really didn't struggle. Once they got a hold of what Liquid were doing. Liquid did have a good run of rounds, but at one point it did get a bit stale, a bit stagnant. Luckily, you don't need to call that great of a T-side. We're only playing 12. Little difficulty in the USP here, but yeah, nice headshot through the smoke. On the CT side, a far more active player. He likes to play short on Mirage. If we look through some of his other positions on the CT side, he's playing B-side on Ancient right now, rotation on Dust 2. That's the A rotate. The A rotate on Inferno as well. And then the B anchor on Train, although not a lot of rounds there to really go off of. You see there is a fairly active rifler in there. And you still wonder maybe who's gonna take up all of the supportive sort of anchor spots on that FaZe side. It does feel like they have riflers who are destined to do more than just be anchors. But I think it'll work out fine. I think these are kind of players the way you can, maybe get a bit loose with it in terms of if you have to have, say, a B anchor on Train, you play them a bit more active. You don't play them the way Hext would play that side of the map, where he's very safe, very retake focused. It's about keeping himself alive and being there in the late round. Instead, playing more for the upper tunnels control, the halls control rather, just would make some sense. A lovely bit of shooting there to close things out. Man, the aim. The aim out of Twistzz is so good. Yeah, just holding the molly in this round. We can skip through this. He just holds a molly for a very long time before it gets revealed to be a mid-take. Takes a freebie and closes it. Like, it's the dullest round of Counter-Strike you'll watch all day, really. But yeah, a lot of Twistzz positions, when you look them up on like something like Edge, for example, Skybox Edge, don't really make a lot of sense for what you'll see. Like, he's not the B-lurk on Mirage. That's just not true. But it's a sign of the change of the meta, because the player who is currently, when they're playing a 3-man pack coming out top mid, you know, he's not the underpass lurker. It would have been historically this player who might have been that guy joining that pack to make it a 3-man pack alongside the aggressive entry and the AWPer. Again, off the shoulder. You saw there, Nafly taking the more aggressive swing, taking the more forward line. Once the mid-fight is called upon. And Twistzz just over the shoulder, gets the headshot. Just give him that little bit of space, give him that little bit of breathing room. And he is going to find those kills time and time again. Aurora, really disappointing, I think, for them to go down in this fashion. I think everyone was expecting way less out of Liquid. I expected this game to be FaZe Liquid, really. But instead we end up here with Liquid upsetting FaZe, then going on to upset Aurora too. Just caught me by surprise, to be honest. And after map 1, a fantastic performance out of Twistzz, lots of fragging that you don't expect. You know, generally Ultimate's been good at this event as well. A few performances, I mean, Naf on map 2 just going so ballistic in the clutch. Like, yeah, you just don't expect it, but there's the rotation. This is why he's a rotator. Right here. I mean, the nade's fine, but just coming up here, take one flashbang. So quick with it. Willing to go out and move forward into that space. Just confident, aggressive, and precise. Oh, hello. Yeah, this is a round we might be able to skip. Just because it's a lot of nothing. I think a take not a lot of people are going to have is that actually Twistzz coming out of Liquid after maybe, you know, running the show for a bit, not making the greatest moves by a lot of people's reckoning. Him leaving it and coming back to his old IGL could be a sign of two things. Now, firstly, some people have really decided to go, maybe Twistzz is going to be the IGL on FaZe because Karrigan wants to move away from competitive play. That seems ridiculous to me, and I highly doubt it's true. Now, the other thing is maybe he's just learnt that he's not capable of being an IGL, but also not capable of necessarily making all of those big decisions. You know? Maybe he's had that sort of difficult conversation with himself or with a player like Rain, who's, you know, never been overly influential or overly fussy when it comes to who's on the team, needing things done his own way, as far as, you know, I'm going to be the IGL, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Maybe he has come to the realization that he just needs to be a damn good player on a damn good team. And that'll be what's best for him. I think a lot of players, you know, it's sort of a humbling experience to go through that. Like, to realize their view of the game isn't perfect. They don't understand everything. They're not just going to be a great caller because they've been playing forever and think, you know, in the game I'm pretty smart. It's not going to be that simple. And so I kind of respect the move out of Liquid, relinquish some control going back to FaZe, but probably, well, hopefully, but also probably play some of the best Counter-Strike of his career. She's in career form right now over the last couple of events, and if he's playing on a team with a good IGL, some solid pieces, he definitely has the opportunity to play career best CS. Big thing to ask, big thing to say, considering he was on that Liquid side who had that 6-event run. But I don't think it's far from impossible. I don't think it's far from possible. Sorry. Great bomb plant denial also lands. Not a real dink. There's a real dink onto Jota. But that bomb's going to be denied by someone else then. Great shooting. Into another buy round. Twistzz at this point, 21 and 10. Just consistent output. There's not been a massive, like, quad kill, triple kill. That's a part of what allows him to build, like, a really strong rating in this map, and why his round swing is so positive, because the kills are really important. The kills allow them to get away with round wins. But also, he's not dying a lot. He's not taking a lot of silly deaths. Not been too risky. In that sense, he is going to be always pretty high rated by rating 3.0. Doesn't do anything silly. He's not one of those players who, like a MabsMD, for example, who... It's not that I'm saying he is silly, it's just that sometimes he will take fights dry, take fights that seem overly aggressive, and they're kind of a part of the game plan. Like, it's to be expected, and it's what you play around if you are G2, that you will have this aggressive MabsMD. Oh, 2v1. Oh, this round gets awkward real quick. Yeah, he doesn't see him walk past on the edge of his screen there. Has to adjust at the last second, gets it done. But, you know, some players, they'll take rating tanking deaths. They'll take bozo deaths. They'll sometimes be a problem just because of the nature of the way they play. Twistzz is not that guy. Even though he is high on the openings front, on CT side, like, he will get involved from short. And even though he does, you know, form a part of the pack and therefore have a very high entrying stat, which isn't normal for a rifler who doesn't, you know, die a lot. Or die a particularly large amount. It is just indicative that everything he does is within the flow of the system. It's in the flow of the game. It's what's being called for. And when it comes to his own decision-making, he does play it a little safer. He does play it a little smarter. And that's what makes him that sort of perfect, in the middle kind of rifler. Between an aggressor, between a lurker and closer. Yes, it's the Twistzz archetype. Yeah, a very delicate and soft rotation over to the A-bomb site. Right on time. After that smoke he put down, he pops it a little bit, like just with little shots. Spots no one. With the flank from Nerds, you know it's definitely going to be this A play. Tough to hold, though. And now, remember what we said earlier about when it's Frozen and Rops, they've not quite got enough aggression. When it's a difficult scenario, a difficult round, who's going to actually throw themselves out there? Well, this is what Twistzz does. Dive straight through the smoke. Frozen ain't doing that shit. Rops ain't doing that shit. Especially not once they lose the opening fight. Those guys are looking for an excuse to save in these scenarios. Nerds 1v2. I can't remember if he actually wins this. They're very winnable HPs. Just needs a single bullet on Major. A headshot on Xantares takes him straight down. But yeah, he anticipates the wrong thing. A force buy to try and bring the game over the line. 11-9. The scoreline in favour of Liquid at this point. And here they should have been punished. Xantares, yeah, going to be kicking himself up after that one. Twistzz with the great spray on the MP9. Even harassing Woxic a bit. Enabling his teammates to get the kill. High flash. Doesn't really catch Major, but Shuhei gets that kill as well. Yeah, this is a wonderful round. The aggression working perfectly as intended. Weapons rescued. But Aurora, yeah, frustrating. Xantares had all the flashes, had everything going for him to win that round. Just can't land the shots. He's been fantastic at this event up to this game. Like, in this game, you know, a little underwhelming. But overall at this event, just great showing out of Xantares. Shaby could bring his top-level stuff into this matchup. I think that would have been an absolute barn burner. With an on-point Twistzz versus an on-point Xantares. God. Would have been lovely, but unfortunately was not to be. Yeah, just staying wary, looking for that sort of underpass lurker boost. Even jiggling for the fight. Really incredible. His buy-round stats have been crazy in this event. 1.22 KPR whilst on B-Site Ancient. 1.0 flat KPR and 140 ADR whilst playing B-Short Mirage. A rotate on Dust 2, 1.18 KPR. Like, just insane impact in the buy rounds. Here, going to clear out the boost. Looking for it. Great adjustment. Down goes Wakadia. There's that aim. Rearing its head again. No wonder you set him up. No wonder you let him trade. And here again, just pushing the smoke. Just the right amount of aggression. The right play in the right moment. And that's going to do it. 13-9. So yeah, just to wrap it up. I just had to watch this demo back for you guys just to upload it. Because man, Twistzz so effective. But yeah, this event in full by rounds, he's 135 rating, 90 ADR. Ridiculous output. And especially when you compare him to his closest comparisons, he's outperforming the expectation from his roles. Like, he has been on point at this event, and generally he has been on point on Liquid when he's not trying to call. When he's not trying to be the IGL, he's been fantastic. Yeah, just really efficient, really impactful. And I think it will be a great addition to FaZe. Even if people don't like him, don't like the move, if he comes in for the right rifler, they are going to be incredible. Alright, if you enjoyed, leave a like. Leave me your thoughts on Twistzz. I know a lot of people had a lot of thoughts when we did Retake the Week on Monday. And yeah, sub for more content. And remember that members get access to more stuff, and it's the best way to support the channel. So, see you next time.